Hello and welcome to Green Healing, where we talk about alternative and natural healing from abuse and CPTSD. Today I'm going to speak about neglect as one of the types of abuse. Many people don't realize that neglect is a form of abuse and thus don't realize that they're being abused if they're being neglected. I want to just give out a little disclaimer as for all my types of abuse videos. If you've experienced this type of abuse, since I go into detail, it might be triggering to some. The person neglecting can be a parent, a teacher, the child of an elderly parent, or a spouse. Neglect includes, but is not limited to, the lack of adequate food, shelter, or clothing, most typically towards children or the elderly. Emotional and psychological abandonment. This can be when a parent is physically present but emotionally absent. This also can occur with an abusive spouse when they purposely neglect their partner's emotional needs in order to punish them or make a point, or to further control them. Being a low priority and feeling like they're not heard, which is especially common for child neglect and the neglect of the elderly. Not being allowed to have or to express emotions, which occurs a lot when the abuser is a narcissist, be they parent, child to an elderly, or a partner. For a child, when they are used as a surrogate spouse, this does not mean necessarily sexual abuse, but that a parent will turn to the child for their emotional needs. Thus, the child's development is neglected. The parent may use the child to vent their frustrations to them regarding the other parent. Oftentimes, the surrogate parent-child believes that they are the favored child of that particular parent, but they're definitely victims. Also, when an older child is forced by circumstance mostly into a surrogate parent role, and they must cook and clean and raise the younger ones, and sometimes go to work. If the real parent is single or poor, this can occur. If the parent is dating and absent or is a drug addict, this will also occur. When basic emotional needs are not being met or reciprocated. Neglect is also when the victim is overly controlled and thus never has the opportunity to feel or to think for themselves. This is mostly true for children who are thus neglected. So while there is a little bit less that encompasses neglect, it also is part of other abuses, other forms of abuse, and other forms of abuse can lead to neglect or include neglect. And it's important to take note because this most typically will be seen happening to children or to the elderly, but it can definitely also happen with a spouse for a relationship and in an abusive relationship, and it definitely is a form of abuse, even if it's more covert, as we say. So like this video, if it has helped you, share it with anyone you think whom it can help. And as always, empower yourself and be emotionally free.